Hi, this is Robert Bobyard with the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. I'm going to take about 20 minutes of your life to deliver some amazing content from accomplished leaders and business owners to help provide you with great Ironman mindset ideas to help you scale your business to become a better leader and push yourself out of your comfort zone. We have now doubled our audience. We really hope you enjoy these shows and really encourage you to like and share with friends, family members, and your network. Based on my book, The Ironman Mindset for Entrepreneurs, I want to try and pull out one insight you could take back from your business on every single show. And ultimately, my goal is to try and make you less mistakes than I did and make your company more profitable. I'm also super excited to share that finally we've gone live with our digital courses on the Wilson 360 website, wilson-360.com. Cheers, everyone. Hi, this is Robert Bobyard with the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. Really excited today to be joined by Michael Ding. Michael, welcome to the show today.
Hey, Robert. Nice to be on here, man.
Just we have a great audience here all around the world, and they'd love to hear a little bit more about Michael. So if you could just talk to me about your background, who you're with right now, what's your role?
I'm Michael, the founder and CEO of Bobyard. Bobyard basically trains AI models to read construction drawings to help with takeoffs and estimates, and we focus just on the green industry. As for my background, it's probably a very quintessential Bay Area, Silicon Valley experience. So I grew up in the Bay, in Cupertino, which is where Apple is headquartered. Went to high school there and then studied computer science and sort of math and the theory behind machine learning at Stanford. Pretty quickly did the Stanford thing, which is I dropped out for Bobyard. We got into an accelerator called PearX, which is run by Pear VC, a pretty top tier firm in the Bay, and decided that the opportunity wasn't going to wait and it wasn't going to execute on its own. So I dropped out and sort of built an initial team, and here we are. About 2 years later, building Bobyard. Yeah.
And why did you decide to sort of jump into the landscape industry?
Actually, yes, there is. We think every day that we meet customers and we talk to our current customers or meet new ones at conferences or something, our conviction on landscaping and the green industry as a whole deepened. Initially, we had customers of every trade. Actually, we had electrical, landscape included, plumbing, mechanical, etc. And we had all the drawings. We were looking at all the different drawings and the different workflows, and we're training models and all different types of drawings. We ended up picking landscaping. We ditched everybody else. Not only it was because our customers in landscaping really wanted the product more, I think, but also because landscaping, I think, has a few things that are quite unique to it. The first is it's a really brilliant industry. I think it's very large and there's a lot of growth in landscaping actually as well. And I think it's overlooked by all the other flashier trades. And the other thing is that our models, I think, are specifically good at landscaping. All the other trades do take off, but landscaping is one of those trades where there's such enormous volume. People are spending hours and hours counting thousands and thousands of things, sometimes tens and tens of thousands. So much volume because it's outside the building. I think the scale is bigger and there's just more of everything. And because of that, it's an extra good task for an AI model to automate the counting aspect. It's the thing that you have to do, the thing that everybody dreads, and it's the most meticulous, most tedious and sort of mundane thing that you have to repeat over and over again. And that's the sort of thing that models are good at. When we train our models on it, I think it just has the highest ROI. I think the final thing is landscaping drawings are particularly hard to read. I don't know, if you pull up a landscaping drawing, sometimes even a human can't tell what's going on in these drawings. It's quite wild out there. It presents a very hard problem that's worth solving for us. And that's probably, that's very aligned with our mission statement about solving hard problems and providing value to people.
Totally relate to that. With my old company, it was tough to find estimators. I deal with some clients who also have the same problem. They have good days and bad days. Goes to doing some estimates. So to help with that automation piece and just that checks and balances, I think is a nice play.
There was some NELP study a year or two ago that came out, and it's 60-70% of all the executives in landscaping think that the number one problem is talent. It's how can I acquire good employees, onboard them, train them well, retain them, and sort of that's the number one problem inside of everybody's heads. The skilled labor and sort of the skilled employees that do the estimates are definitely part of that because they have to work with pretty complicated Excels. They have big estimate tables sometimes where they use software for it, and Bobyard does part of this as well. But they have these really complicated formulas they have to do, different calculations or markups. But at the same time, they spend a huge chunk of their time just counting plants and drawing lines on top of in their screens, and so it doesn't make sense. It doesn't match up to their skill level. And really, I think at its core, our product really just increases the leverage of different teams and tries to empower them to do more with the same team.
And here we are, we're doing this interview in the middle of February, and I just saw some different economic reports out and them talking about some of the challenges around labor and keeping that talent. And so I can definitely relate to that. I was down at the the Leaders Forum down in Costa Rica a few weeks ago, and we had a futurist in there, and he was talking about AI and just some of the things potentially coming down the pipeline, or perhaps already here that people are just not aware of. Tell me a little bit more about AI. What you see out there. How quick is it coming? What we should be doing to be prepared for it.
Well, I don't know where the quote is from, but it's like, the future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. There are industries that are like under massive disruption because of AI and automation. Like there's like call centers, right? And there are AI agents nowadays that I see in different startups that can do cold calls and be pretty good at that. And it's like indistinguishable from a human. And you can answer very easy customer support tickets or something like one at a time. And I think the best way to be ready for it is like don't shy away from it. I think if you're like an executive or a leader in any given industry, landscaping included, it's kind of your responsibility to the company to know about the future technologies. It's not your responsibility to implement them. It's your decision to implement them, but it's your responsibility to at least know about them to make a good decision for your company about it. Like don't shy away from these new technologies, learn about them. It's more accessible now. Before you can just probably pull up YouTube and there's a bunch of different open like source courses and whatnot you can take. MIT has all their recordings for AI Live that you probably don't need to watch all of them. There's some intro ones as well. You can just gain some intuition about how these models work and how they train and what kind of use cases would they be good at. And then decide for yourself with the company, like have some policies for how you want to adopt AI. How do you evaluate different products? That's actually something that we have to talk to our customers a lot about because they've never really considered buying an AI product before from anybody. We're the first ones and we have to help them out with like different ROI calculations and how do you consider this tool? Is it like a software tool? Is it like an automate that you replace employees with it? What is actually the way you think about it and the framework you use? A lot of times, really, it's just like we have to, there's, I think, general fear about like, okay, is it going to take away my jobs or whatnot as well for the employees? A lot of times the push for is mainly just like, hey, you could have your current team and you want to grow in 2025 by 10%, 20%, whatever it might be. And instead of having to, increase your overhead by increasing your team size and having a bunch of new employees, you can probably achieve that goal and maybe a lot more, like twice as much by just implementing the proper tools and empowering your current super players to perform even better. And so there's a lot of different things, I think, to it. And I think it all starts with facing a problem head on and actually learning about the different tools. There are so many different resources online to learn about AI and whatnot. And I'm happy also to talk more about, AI as well here.
Well, I think, a couple of things spring to my mind. Unfortunately, I think our industry tends to have a reputation of being slow to adopt new innovation, new techniques. So that can be a challenge for people. A lot of owners, certainly from maybe some of the older traditional companies are, perhaps late 50s, 60s, maybe don't have that interest in learning about stuff. They, obviously, hopefully they have some younger talent in their team who could potentially embrace that, the new technology and AI. And I think I love your term, how almost like lean into it, learn about it. And, one of the challenges I think and I also hear is they don't know what they don't know, meaning that they don't know what questions to ask. There's a little bit of trust challenges there in terms of they don't want to necessarily, open up the hood and let people in to see what could be improved through improved efficiencies and stuff like that. So there's a lot of hesitation there, but I think you're right. Is it how do we build that trust? How do we get either delegate or maybe, as you say, learn a little bit and then delegate some of your team members to come back to you with?
I also think like part of the reason why the adoption has been slower in some of these industries is not only because like the points you bring up in any industry itself, but also because like the technology sort of innovators / startups don't want to go into this industry because it's perceived to be difficult. It's like, if we build AI takeoff for landscaping, no one's going to buy it. And I think, that definitely does play a role. You look around and there definitely are fewer AI suppliers and software and different tools and whatnot in landscaping. But I also think like you bring up a really good point about, delegating and learning more and how do you evaluate. I think this is one of the biggest things we see as a difference between what we call like the enterprise customers and versus the mid-market customers. Like, if you do a couple mil, 10 mil in revenue a year versus like 100 mil in revenue, like the way that the executive teams at these two companies evaluate Bobyard is very, very different. The big companies will do like an ROI case study. It's like, okay, team A, you guys go do these takeoffs and estimates with Bobyard. Team B, go do something else with the same project with a different tool that they may have. And it's like very sophisticated ROI calculations, financial modeling, and everything. They have like big spreadsheets that they cook up for these things. But then if you look at the mid-market, they're mainly like, okay, I don't like counting plants. This counts plants for me. I think the emotional value of this is roughly equal to this, and this is what I'll pay for it, and so on and so forth. And you can tell that the larger, more sophisticated buyers in the industry really consider all the different aspects. They're very clever. It's like, oh, if it saves me this kind of time, what can I do with that time? Do I spend it on bidding more projects? Because can my team fulfill more projects, or do I, increase the quality of my bid, the margin, the win rate, etc. And there's a bunch of different levers they can pull, and they realize like it's an exercise in business, basically. Like, what are the key metrics in my business, and what levers what can I pull to increase it, etc.
I love that, and you actually touched on my next question, just around there's definitely a lot of negativity around AI. People are complaining, oh, it's going to take over jobs, it's going to get rid of all these people. But I was listening to another podcast, the All In podcast, and it just talks about why don't look at it from a perspective of what are the opportunities that can come from this, and people can maybe shift into different roles. Maybe as you scale your company, maybe you're needing less people, but it just means you're not necessarily hiring more people, but you're still utilizing, retooling your existing team.
Yeah.
What other opportunities do you see out there, either for regular companies or landscape companies?
Like opportunities for adopting AI?
Yeah, adopting AI. Yeah.
I think one of the cool metrics that are tossed around in the landscape industry that I see a lot, like Justin White from Candy, we just announced our partnership earlier this weekend. But basically, one of his main things that he pronounces is like revenue per employee as the key KPI. Right. And that's the thing that he's been growing for Candy, and Candy's been a pretty successful landscaping business, and their team is quite small. And eventually, like with traditional software tools and methods, you reach a limit. Like, you can only be so effective as one person in any given role. We found that if you introduce AI to it, you can automate certain things, and it's just you unlock the next level of potential growth with the same team. There's this thing about Jensen Huang is founder of NVIDIA, and he's like, there's probably not a single job in the world I can think of where a part of the job can be done by an AI like 1,000 times better. Maybe for like a project manager is like 10-20% of it can be done 1,000 times better with AI. 30% of an estimator's job can be done 1,000 times better with AI, etc. But at the same time, though, there's not a single job that we can think of where 100% of that job can be done by an AI. There has to be a human in the loop. And this it's a pretty fundamental insight, I think, about how to adopt AI technology. It's like, because there has to be a human in the loop, you have to treat AI as a tool, and it has to be used by humans to do better and to go further. And so because of that, I think it's very intuitive. The next thing is just like, okay, this is kind of like a superpower. You give your employees superpowers to do a lot more. And that's how we think about it. That's how we think about building Bobyard. It's like, okay, we're building, the next set of amazing tools and superpowers that landscapers can use to do their job way, way better.
Yeah, that's awesome. I thought a really interesting side question there, slightly off topic, but related. But, for all the, I suppose, parents out there, younger kids, growing up, trying to figure out what they want to do later in life, what's just some of the things they should be looking at? I mean, you talked about, studying computer science, and my kids are starting to learn about coding, but what does that future look like in terms of that younger kids, and what should we be, we've complain about kids can be on a computer, but I'm also thinking, well, maybe there's an opportunity here.
I think people are going to use AI for a lot of different things that it might not be actually useful for. And there's a bit of a tangent as well. Like, for example, like people use their cell phones for all sorts of pretty mundane things, even though it's super, super powerful, and it could be used for a lot more things. And I think it's the same with AI. You're going to use it for very mundane things and whatnot. And I think people are going to be pretty reliant on it. And I think it's pretty unavoidable. It's just like any other technology that's really valuable. As for, I guess, valuable skills to acquire now. This is where I disagree, I think, with Jensen. Jensen said something like, there won't be any programmers anymore. Everybody will program in natural language. You just talk to a computer in English and it'll start writing stuff for you. I agree. You can talk to ChatGPT and write you code and et cetera. There's other tools now built for coding specifically where you can talk to it and it can write code. But you definitely don't have the full understanding. Like, when we look at, hiring great engineers, we look at their code and we ask them about very sophisticated things about the code, very subtle things. And you can tell they use ChatGPT to write this and they don't understand it, so on and so forth. And you can tell that they've been using ChatGPT for the past 4 years to learn about these different programming languages instead of learning from the fundamentals ground up. I think it's always been the case. There are certain things that will always be the case. And one of them is probably like, you have to be really, really good at something. If you just use AI to do everything, like you're not going to be good at anything. What is the value there? Like anybody can, if you can use AI very well, like it's not too hard, like anybody can use AI very well. You have to do things that others cannot. And that's really where the value is in anything you do. Actually, my advice is like, if you want to go into technology, don't depend on AI too much. Like instead, like do the math and sort of do the fundamentals, like understand the intuition on how AI models work. It's really just linear algebra, like fundamentally. And if you understand all of that, then you can have a much deeper understanding of how these things train, and you can build much better things down the road. That's like technology, at least. I think generally for the other, industries / if you go into different jobs and whatnot, careers that's not in coding and technology and software building, I think the best thing to do is do the things that others cannot. I think, which also means like do the things that AI cannot as well. AI is very good at very specific things and can't do a lot of other things. I remember when AI first came, like when ChatGPT first came out, you asked it like how many R's are in strawberry. It wouldn't be able to count it. There's very specific things about how models work and why it can't answer that question. There are fundamentally things that only humans can do, and there's also fundamentally things that are very difficult to do. And it's the intersection of valuable things and hard things that are truly like worth chasing after. And I think that's like generally where we trend. And I think that's where a lot of our motivation and inspiration for Bobyard as a company also comes from. We like doing, we almost only do things that others cannot do. And it's also very valuable.
Talking about partnerships, I always like every year to really look at who are the people, the partners that are around me. And one of the things I do is, do they help me elevate myself, elevate my company, elevate the people in my company, just really push me a little bit more? What should, landscape owners or business owners in general be looking for in their partners as they start to scale their company?
Yeah. Maybe this is like not very nice to say or something, but one of the soft theses for Bobyard for hiring is like, given a candidate, we ask ourselves, does this candidate incite imposter syndrome in me or not? and basically, like we've ended up with a team where everybody just incites imposter syndrome on everybody else, essentially, or some version of that. And basically, it's just like you couldn't have imagined that people could be this good at coding. And you couldn't, and the engineering team couldn't have imagined someone being this good at sales. Like I didn't know that it was humanly possible to make these numbers. And then here we bring on someone that can, and it was just like smashed all expectations. So I think it's like being absolutely no corners cut, no compromises on talent, and the people you surround yourself with, absolutely. And for me, that's sort of a soft metric that we look for. It's like, is this guy so good that I can't even imagine how he's able to do what he does. Like some of the engineers, like I don't know, like to be honest, like these guys are amazing. And truly, like that's the type of environment that you need to create, I think, great work and to create a great team. Great engineers and great salespeople want to work on hard problems that are worth solving, and they want to do it with other amazing, smart people. If you don't hire amazing people, you will only be able to attract other people that are not amazing. And if you do acquire amazing people, then only amazing people will be attracted. Like amazing people want to work with amazing people.
No, I love that. I mean, because it can go two different ways. It's not only are you hiring great people, and you need to evaluate what does that person look like, and they may in fact be better than you or the owner, but you're always trying to keep pushing each other. But once you have those people in place, then you need to be doing a lot of exciting, innovative things. You need to be scaling your company as well to help keep them there. Otherwise, they're going to move on to other companies. So that's, I think, internally. And I see a lot of owners that struggle. They're maybe in that comfort zone. They're not pushing themselves. And I sort of really question, what does their employee turnover look like? But also, I think it needs to happen on an external. Who are the partners? Either the vendors, the sponsors, their mentors, some of the coaches maybe they're working with. Are they really pushing me or my company to its full capability?
Yeah. Well, one of the things is like, the team is so good and inspires me to work harder. I know that it's my responsibility to grow their careers, and their careers rely on the business, and which relies on me. And so like, I better do my best to set the vision, to set the course, and to make sure it's an exciting mission that everybody's going after. And also to make sure everybody's working sort of with amazing people as well, surrounded by amazing partners. One of the things we bring up is, it's true, it's very hard to be a CEO. I think it's very hard to be an owner, especially starting something new. There's this like, I forgot who, maybe Amazon has this hiring goal, but it's like the next employee we hire has to be better than the average. But if you're one person, you're starting out alone, building a company, if you hire someone that's better than the average, you have to hire someone that's better than you. The first person you hire should be better than you. And I think that's been the case. Like we always hire people that are better than everybody, like better than me for sure. That's definitely a part. You better be better at coding than me. Like you better be better at sales than me. And I think that's definitely a part of it. And when you have a great team and you have great partners, it motivates them to work harder. It's like, hey, the rest of my team, who are amazing people who are working really hard and building amazing things, depend on me to do amazing things with my role and produce the results that I need, because everybody depends on everybody else. I think that sense of responsibility happens, and it's only when you have great players, because the great players respect each other, and it's like, okay, they're going to do great work. I need to do great work as well. Otherwise, I'm not carrying my weight.
So, Michael, we're finishing up here, but how do people find more information about you, your company, just a little bit more about AI stuff? What's the best way for them to connect with you and find
Yeah, I'm pretty low-key, so I don't know if you can find much about me, but you can definitely find me. I'm on LinkedIn, just Michael Ding. You'll see like founder of Bobyard and whatnot. And I'm pretty responsive there. We get a lot of customers that reach out on LinkedIn, so I always respond, whether it's about customers or just like asking questions about how to run your business or something like that. A lot of other founders and whatnot we connect with. And then for the company, it's just bobyard.com. You can see it's named after bodybuilder. It's just a Bob, B-O-B, yard. It's pretty easy to get it. And then you'll find out the information about what we do and whatnot, and the team as well.
Well, Michael, I know you partnered up with us for our Thought Leaders Retreat on 8th to 30th of July in Denver. So really excited to see you there. Definitely encourage all of the listeners to come to that event, come and meet you, Michael, and your team. But really excited about that partnership. So thank you, Michael. Really appreciate it.
Of course, we'll be there. And yeah, I think, one final thing is, I think the green industry is special because of this. Like when I mentioned green industry and white green industry, one of the things I think I left out there is there are not many industries that we found where the community is so tight knit. There's so many, like, for example, if you go to like NALP events or your local state or chapter events or something like that, it's so tight knit. Everybody knows everybody else. Even though they're like kind of competitors, it doesn't really matter. We were at like, holiday dinners and whatnot over the holidays this year with a bunch of landscapers, and that doesn't really happen with any of the other trades. I think it's really, really special. And we're really honored to be a part of that. Yeah. Thanks again for having us on, and we'll definitely be there. Yeah, for sure.
You're welcome. Michael, thanks for your time today. Really appreciate it. Have a good day. Cheers.
Cool. Thank you, man.
Okay, cheers. Thanks for tuning in to the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. I'm Robert Clinky-Beard, and I hope today's insights inspire you to push yourself beyond your limits, lead with purpose, and scale your business to new heights. Don't forget to check out our new digital online courses and training programs on the Wilson 360 website, and join the Boss Business Management Software community to optimize your business like never before. If you found value in this episode, please subscribe on YouTube, share it with your network. Let's grow, let's transform the industry together. Until next time, stay inspired and keep striving for greatness. Cheers, everyone.